The first time I saw a bride at the bus stop, she was bleeding through her wedding dress and smiling like she had finally found me. No one else seemed to notice her. Cars passed. The tea stall hissed with steam. The azan echoed faintly in the distance. But she stood there, barefoot on the cold road, veil fluttering in a wind that did not touch anything else. Her eyes locked onto mine with desperate hope, the kind that scares you more than hatred ever could. Then the bus arrived, people pushed past me, and when I looked again, she was gone. I told myself it was exhaustion. I had just returned to my hometown after 10 years, dragged back by my mother's sudden illness and the weight of unfinished memories. This town had always been strange after sunset. Even as a child, I remembered whispers about ghostly brides who wandered the roads at night, searching for the love stolen from them. I had laughed at those stories back then. Standing at that bus stop, my laughter died quietly inside my chest. That night, my mother held my hand and whispered, "If you hear bangles after midnight, don't open your door." I asked her why. Her grip tightened. "They are still searching," she said, and refused to explain. Sleep did not come easily. At exactly 12:30, the sound began. Soft, rhythmic, glass bangles clinking together, moving slowly down the corridor outside my room. My heart hammered so loudly I was sure it would drown out everything else. The sound stopped right outside my door. Then came a knock, gentle, polite, as if love itself was asking to be let in. I did not open the door. The next morning, I found red footprints leading from the corridor to the front gate. Bare feet, stained like dried roses. My mother pretended not to see them, scrubbing the floor with shaking hands while muttering prayers under her breath. That was when I knew the stories were real. The old librarian, Bashir Chacha, finally told me the truth. Decades ago, this town had been cursed by a series of brutal betrayals. Young women, promised marriage, abandoned or murdered on their wedding nights. Some were burned, some drowned, some simply vanished. Their love never found closure, and neither did their souls. They returned as brides, eternally dressed for a ceremony that never ended, roaming the town in search of someone who would finally accept them. But why me? I asked. Bashir Chacha looked at me with pity. Because you came back alone, he said. And because you still believe in love. That evening, I saw her again. This time, she stood at the edge of the old graveyard, moonlight soaking her torn dress in silver. Her face was pale, beautiful, and unbearably sad. She lifted her veil slowly. Half her face was burned, skin melted like wax. The other half looked untouched, eyes shimmering with longing. "Will you walk with me?" she asked. My legs moved before my mind could stop them. Every instinct screamed danger, yet something deeper pulled me forward. We walked in silence between crooked graves. The air grew colder with every step. Finally, she stopped. "They promised me forever," she said softly. "I waited in this dress. I waited until the fire consumed me." Her voice cracked. "I just want to be chosen." I told her I was sorry. The word felt useless the moment it left my mouth. Her expression changed. The hope drained away, replaced by something ancient and furious. "Sorry is what they all say," she whispered. The ground shook. From the shadows emerged more brides. Dozens of them, all wearing different styles of wedding dresses, all stained with blood, ash, or mud. Some had no faces. Some carried broken bangles. All of them were staring at me like I was the answer to a question they had been asking for years. "Run!" my mind screamed. But my body froze. The first bride stepped closer. "Choose one of us," she said. "Give her the love we were denied. Or stay with us forever." My breath came in ragged gasps. I realized then that this was the town's secret. Men didn't leave because they were afraid. They left because those who stayed were eventually chosen. I remembered my mother's face. Her fear. Her prayers. I understood why she had never wanted me to return. "I can't," I said. "I'm sorry." The scream that followed was not human. The brides lunged. Cold hands grabbed my arms, my chest, my throat. The smell of smoke and decay filled my lungs. Just as darkness began to close in, a voice cut through the chaos. "Enough." My mother stood at the graveyard gate, holding a small oil lamp. Her face was calm, determined. She began to recite names. One by one. Each name echoed like a bell in the night. The brides screamed and recoiled as if burned by the sound. "These are your names," my mother shouted. "You were loved. You were remembered." One by one, the brides began to fade. Their anger dissolved into tears. The first bride looked at me one last time. This time, her smile was peaceful. "Thank you for seeing us," she whispered, before vanishing into the earth. By dawn, the graveyard was silent. My mother collapsed, exhausted. She told me she had been part of a group of women who had tried to protect the town years ago, preserving the names and stories of the dead brides so they wouldn't be forgotten. Forgetting, she said, was what turned grief into monsters. I left the town the same day. Months have passed. I live in a different city now. I avoid lonely roads. I avoid bus stops at night. But sometimes, in crowded places, I hear the soft clink of bangles behind me. When I turn, I see a woman in a wedding dress, standing still among the living, eyes scanning every face. She never smiles at me anymore. And that scares me more than anything, because it means she is still searching, and one day, someone will say yes.